Every relationship have their own issues. Not all the time the issues are the same. But I want to tell you at least 5 habits that can cause major problems in your relationship. Number one, comparing your mate to other people. You know, when you compare your husband to your father, maybe in a negative way, or maybe about your ex-boyfriend, or maybe about one of your other friends, those type of things can mess up the secure part of a husband and make him more insecure. And one of the reasons why is because comparison is the robber of success. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't do it when it comes to your relationship. Instead, try to build your husband up and pick out his unique strengths and the value that he brings to the relationship. Number two, being overly critical of your mate. A lot of times when we get into arguments, we bring up all the bad things that a person has done. You know, we just hold on to it. And then when we get to arguing, we release all of it at one time. We have to be very careful. When you beat up your mate, at some point in time, your mate could start to believe the things that you're saying. They may not necessarily be true. And what ends up happening is a lot of times people will live up to the potential that you have placed on them or the lack thereof. So stop being overcritical of their mate. It's like when you set a child in a room and all they do is feed nothing but negative things that they're watching on TV, vulgarities and all these things. They end up becoming what they see and what they hear. Don't do that to your mate. Number three, also being overly secretive when it comes to your relationship. There are two parts to this. There are those who don't like to let people know that they're in a marriage, or those who don't like to share that they're in a relationship, so they don't post their mate. They don't do anything on social media. They don't like to walk in public and hold hands. They're very secretive about their mate. Oh, that's a major danger, because you leave yourself open for another person's interpretation. They can say that that man's not married or that woman's not married. And so more people will try to holler at you during that time period. Also, another part about being secretive that can mess things up is if you have things going on and you don't include your mate into what's going on. You know, your mate is always the last to know. Don't do that, my friends. This is your partner. You two are supposed to be one. And so you have to share things with your partner. Don't worry about the person being judgmental. You speak the truth and you speak it in love, my friends. Number four, if you place your children over your mate. Now, I'm not talking about a boyfriend. I'm not talking about a girlfriend. I'm talking about your husband and I'm talking about your wife. My friends, the way God ordained it is the husband and the wife comes first in the relationship and the children goes under that. It's okay if you have a situation where you have a stepfather or a stepmother. I know those situations can be a little tedious. This is not about saying you love the children any less, but you have to be very careful that you do not allow your children to pit you two against each other. You know, whereas I'm going to go ask mama something and, hey, mama, can I do this? Mama says no. Then she runs over here to daddy and say, hey, daddy, can I do this? Well, yeah, you can do it. And so now mama and daddy are at odds because one says something different than the other. No, you two stay on the same page, because as much as we love our children, one day they're going to leave us. And so it's only going to be you two left with each other, trying to build and continue to grow your relationship as God would have it. Number five, I know you heard it before, but keep people out of your relationships. I'm talking your family, your friends, your god brother, your mother, your dog, your cat, whoever. Keep people out of your relationship. Sad to say, my friends, some of your people don't like your mate, and they would love for you to come to them with negativity. Some people don't like that you're away from the family. They may want you to be back in the fold. So they may look for the bad, the nitpicking things that you two go through, and they want to break your situation up. Then there's also the flip side of that. Ladies, when you go and talk about your husband to your friend girls, how do you know if they may like your husband or not? They may try to holler at him on the sly and do some things that you won't do. Same thing with men. When you try to go talk to your friends about your woman, and then what ends up happening is behind the scenes, he go tell her what you said to try to get in where he fit in. We have to be very careful with these things. This is why I always say strive to build up your mate instead of breaking them down. And another bonus tip, do not post every bad negative thing about your relationship on social media, because when things get back good with your mate, people will look at you funny and they will wonder why, hey, why did we get all invested in this thing about all the negative stuff only for these two to get back together? See, it's not about them in the first place, which is why I'm saying keep family things, husband and wife, relationship things private. And in private, you can suffer together, you can build together, and you can grow together. Number 6, my friends, I want you always to keep God first. What's happening in a lot of marriages today is a lot of people are getting divorced, and they're divorced while they're even in the relationship. It is a sad, sad day to when the person that you stood before saying that we love one another too, we leave out of our marriage. No, God is first in our marriage, and we have to be able to keep him in his proper place. My friends, pray together. And when your mate messes up, don't use it over their head to the point to where it's like you're holding the sin over their head and you have to keep bringing it up over and over again. Forgive. That's a trait from God. We have to have forgiveness. Show mercy. That's a trait from God. Show grace. That's a trait from God. These are things that we have to keep in our marriage. Don't operate in your marriage like the world will have you to, because you'll be another statistic, divorced, single, and alone. The world makes you think that that's a good thing. It can be to a certain extent, but God said it himself. It's not good for man to be alone. So he's going to make you a helpmate. And so that helpmate became your soulmate. Not just you two living on earth together as a power couple, but you two striving to go to heaven with one another. And so these are just a few things that can help grow your relationship. It's a lot more things that we can talk about. Join us throughout the whole week. We will be diving into things as it pertains to relationships. And as always, y'all keep your hearts right and your mind clear. One love.